In Georgia overnight, the first words out of President Trump's mouth were not true.
By the way, there's no way we lost Georgia. There's no way. That was a rigged election.
He was supposed to be campaigning ahead of today's crucial Senate runoffs. Instead, the president obsessed over his election loss, again falsely claiming he won.
And they're not taking this White House. We're going to fight like hell.
Hours after huddling with Vice President Pence in the Oval Office, the president called on Pence to help deliver him a second term when the Senate votes tomorrow whether to certify the results for President-elect Biden.
I hope that our great Vice President comes through for us. He's a great guy. Of course, if he doesn't come through, I won't like him quite as much.
But to be clear, Pence does not have the power to change the outcome. Republicans are bitterly divided over the decision by 13 GOP senators and more than 100 others in the House to object to the certification of Biden's victory. The president still fuming after that contentious hour-long call where he tried and failed to pressure Georgia Republican Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger to find the votes to overturn his defeat.
I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have, because we won the state.
Raffensperger telling NBC News he does not know who released the recording, but that he's glad it was made public after President Trump mischaracterized their conversation.
You can't keep on taking shots from people and people keep putting out stuff that's not true. We're going to respond forcefully sometimes with the facts. And if people can't handle the facts, I'm sorry, but those are the facts.
Another top Republican state election official methodically taking apart Trump's false claims that thousands of votes were cast by dead people and unregistered voters, as well as the president's baseless claims that ballots and voting machines were tampered with.
This is all easily, provably false, yet the president persists.
Gabriel Sterling describing his exasperation after hearing the call.
I screamed in my car at the radio talking about this because this has been thoroughly debunked.
On Capitol Hill, a pair of Democrats are now asking the FBI director to open a criminal investigation into the president.
It is a crime to solicit election fraud, and that's what Donald Trump did over and over again.
President-elect Biden in Georgia bashing President Trump.
I don't know why he still wants the job. He doesn't want to do the work.
And this morning, the New York Times reports that President Trump has directly pressed Mike Pence to find an alternative to certifying Biden's win tomorrow, like preventing him from having 270 electoral votes and letting the election be thrown to the House to decide. But basically, Pence has to side with his boss or with the Constitution here. And again, he does not have the power to determine the winner. Really, his role is to publicly count the electoral votes, ultimately declaring Joe Biden president-elect. Savannah?
Well, that being the case, that there's nothing that the vice president can do. What's up with the pressure tactic? What's the end game there?
Well, it's a good question. Clearly, the president is frustrated about this. He seems to believe, certainly his supporters believe, that they can change the outcome here. But the stakes going into today are so significant, even ahead of what happens tomorrow. Consider what the former President Barack Obama said. He put it bluntly on Twitter yesterday. He said these stakes could not be higher. Control of the Senate dictates what gets done. So if the Democrats win both seats in Georgia today, that's going to help Joe Biden's ability to pursue his agenda. That could include a tax increase on the wealthiest Americans, more immediate COVID relief, billions of dollars to combat climate change, as Biden wants to do, and of course the ability to appoint the judges that Biden wants to the federal bench. If Republicans hold on by the smallest of margins today, they can try to thwart Biden's policies. No matter what happens, it'll be a nearly evenly divided chamber where any defection on either side could swing key votes.